Hi. Well, one of our focus, as you guys know, is Taiwan and Taiwan Strait and South China Sea, because this is really, I can say the burning point of our world today. And what happened recently is the Taiwanese army shot down for the first time. They opened fire to shoot down a Chinese drone, and why they did it. And also, what happened? Well, because the Chinese Communist Party and the PLA, People's Liberation Army, they took the chance to use Nancy Pelosi's visit in Taiwan as an excuse to step up their military provocation. You see, as I mentioned in my previous episode, they dare not to confront with the big and strong America. So during Pelosi's stay in Taiwan, they did nothing. But afterward, they used that visit as an excuse to bully the little Taiwan with 23 million people, and in mainland 1.3 billion, right? So it's really a kind of bullying. And what they did is, other than a lot of military exercise around Taiwan, they started to send drones into the territorial air room of Taiwan. Not just, the so-called identification zone that they did it before. Now it's really a territorial airspace of Taiwan. This is actually in international convention. This is an invasion. Okay. Now the thing is, Taiwanese army has always got an order from the president of Taiwan that we never start a war first with China. So, and we never start shooting first. But this time they started shooting first. Why? It's not because they never keep the promise, because what they mean is we should not be the one who start the war. But the thing is, when the communist China kept sending numerous drones flying over the air of Taiwan, that is an invasion. This is and you have the right to shoot them down. So the President Tsai Ing-wen, she changed that for a couple of weeks ago and giving the permission for Taiwanese Air Force or Army to shoot. So they shoot. They shot down actually a drone, and the drone was hit and fell into the sea. Now, what I want to talk about today is not shooting down the drone itself, but how come that communist China become so aggressive, and that they have so much money to spend on the military build-up, and also using these build-up military forces to interfere Taiwan all these times recently, right? I mentioned in a previous episode, China is, in the last 6-7 years, has been building double so many warships than America. So, and the Chinese army is now much bigger and also in a way much modernized than before. And all this costs a lot of money. And how come they get all the money? Well, you see, that is a very important point to look into. This is something that to do with all of us. Without you and me in our past, without doing any mistake, without thinking wrongly, they won't be able to come so far. And I explained to you. Recently I gave a speech at some economic conference in Frankfurt, and also recently I make several speeches in the Swedish Parliament and other parliaments. And it was interesting because there was a common question to me. How shall we deal with our dependency in economy with China? Okay. So I told them, because we've been doing mistake, and this is why we are so dependent. And to correct mistake, we have to get ourselves prepared to pay for it. there's no free lunch. So why the Chinese economy became so attractive for many governments and companies and countries and peoples? Well, because they managed to make quite a lot of money. And how come? You know, China used to be a pretty poor country until, say, beginning of 90. And actually, even the end of 90, they were not well off. Actually, I would say starting 2001, when China became member of the World Trade Organization, WTO, then the Chinese economy really, take off. And so how come that Chinese economy can grow so fast? Well, I used to summarize it with three main reasons. Reason number one, after the revolution, the Communist Party started a cleansing of opposition. They basically kill and jail opposition. In the beginning, opposition is like landlords and rich people, and later it's then different faith group, different religions, Christian or Buddhism or Taoism, and then later also Falun Gong, and of course the minority group like Tibetans and Uyghurs and so on. Because all these people either were seen as opposition or potential opposition. So get rid of them. So that's the first reason, so that they get free hand, okay? Nobody say no to them. Now, second big reason, the exploitation of the Chinese people. Chinese people is a very hardworking people, yeah? So in order to exploit them, the Communist Party know the best way is to cheat them, tell them all the time lies, brainwash them, and stop them to experience true information. So China, as an information country, China was totally sealed. You only hear one voice, and that's the voice of the party, okay? So, and then they manage to make a lot of Chinese people believe, I'm working hard because I'm building up our fatherland. And then they believe that why we have to devote ourselves so much for the fatherland or motherland, yeah? Because the American imperialists, the Western and anti-Chinese forces, they don't want to see a strong China, okay? They still say today, everything they don't like, they will tell people, because America doesn't want to see a strong China. That's why they criticize us. They claim that we have human rights problem. Actually, we don't have it, because they just want to make trouble and stop us to become big and strong. And that kind of propaganda worked pretty well with Chinese people. So that was the second reason. The third reason, third reason had to do with us in the democratic country. Namely, they think it's also important to get the money, that means the capital, the technologies, and to be able to send a lot of Chinese students to all these highly developed countries. Yeah? So they duped us, they cheat us by telling all the nice story. If we get more trade with you, and when China becomes richer, then we will afford to also introduce more freedom, human rights, and rule of law, and so on. Yeah? All lies. And now this is our problem. People in the free world, many of us, either they were too naive to believe in that, or they are not naive, but because they are greedy to get all this, to enter this huge market of 1.3 billion people. Okay? So our naivety and our greediness, yeah, is a big problem. So, and this is why now they afford making so many drones, yeah? Most of the drones are made in China, and the Chinese army are equipped with thousands and 100,000 of drones, and they afford to fly over many every day over Taiwan. And I tell you, Taiwan is not the end of their threat. It's just the beginning. And don't forget, I used to remind European friends and also the politicians, yeah, that Taiwan Strait and South China Sea is not a question, not only a problem for Taiwan, it's a problem for the whole world, also for Germany and Europe, because a lot of our trade a lot of the goods coming and going from and to Europe are passing this waterway. So this is already, a real threat today. So in other words, maybe all of us should help by looking in ourselves. Am I too naive to believe in the propaganda from China? And am I too greedy for the big Chinese market so that I corrupt my own value system? That is a very important issue. Everybody should think about that. Okay, thank you for today, and don't forget to click like and check your subscription. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.